the drag, goes inside the floor. Scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
What is up, everyone? Run Pure Sports, breaking it down for you guys. I don't know if this is free or premium. JSU, are we free or premium right now?
I think we are free. So,
free.
Yeah.
Well,
free. We got a 3-man booth right now, soon to be 4-man.
Yeah, we got a 4-man booth. I'm stalling, so I'm trying to find the graphic for NBA 4-man.
I got it.
You know, that was like the weakest show intro I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah.
You made it like 10 seconds in before you're like, is this free or premium? Come on.
Well,
I pretty bad.
Good thing Big T wasn't here to see that pathetic excuse for an intro. Mango.
I heard it. I saw it and heard it. I mean, that was shameful.
It wasn't my best intro.
Good better, Mango.
Yeah, well, I was gonna try
He
and
had no energy either. It was like it looked like he was in front of the fireplace, just relaxing for the evening.
Maybe I am in front of the fireplace, relaxing with the piano in the background. But this is how we bring the show back, Big T. We pull up the fuck Greg gif.
See, that's how you buried the lead. You should have started with it.
But enough about Gregory. We got Big T. We got a 4-man booth. We're breaking it down. We got DC with his vest on. I know the chat loves the vest. Apparently, people think DC is a.
I get a lot of
not to pick winners with a vest on.
I get a lot of compliments about the vest, but I bring it back for the Friday show.
Yeah.
DC, I hope those compliments are from mainly ladies, but hey,
No.
each their own.
From the chat, which I assume is
ASU is very scared of dude compliments, DC. Like, it gets him very uneasy. I like it when dudes tell me I look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's the trick. That's how
I could just give a shit if a dude thinks I look good. You know what I mean?
When I'm on the slab with JSU,
Lady thinks I look good, though. That means that I'm doing something right.
That's his weakness, man. Going if you get in there and grab him a little bit, it'll throw him off. You might
I grab him and I say, "Those pants look nice and tight, JSU."
Yeah.
That's definitely not my weakness. Is someone trying to grab
That was
me.
Uncle T on the golf course. Every time JSU bent over, he was talking about the flexibility.
That's
the
different,
backside
though.
movement.
Yeah.
He wasn't grabbing me, though. That's different. He was.
That's
Yeah,
how I'm gonna beat you
I put a T down, and Uncle T would be, "Ooh, buddy, okay, really, settle down, Uncle T, settle down."
I
was
gotta
gonna have to go in the woods and take care of something real quick.
All I gotta do is say to JSU, "Hey, that medium looks nice on you," and then you'll start shanking shots. So there we go. That's the trick, apparently.
That picture was that old Bruce came out of the rafters earlier with the picture of you guys on the slab. Yeah, I was just joking about it. He had an actual demonstration of it.
It was so perfect. The two pictures right next.
It was literally the same pose as it was on the other one. And Mitch had jeans on. The only thing that would have made it perfect is if you both had jeans on.
You're not going to see me balling in jeans. I'll tell you that. So that's not happening. That's a Snyder move, I guess. But all right, let's talk some hoops. I know Big T is excited to talk about January Golden State Warriors basketball. That just really gets everyone excited, especially when they have no one in. But we'll talk about that. That'll be an important talking point on this slate. We'll obviously break it all down. We got the Sixers stuff. That's big. We'll also go through some of the injury stuff real quick here. DeJounte Murray, he's actually in, so we're good. I didn't refresh my page. My bad. The main stuff we're waiting on is Miles McBride and Cat. They are both questionable, so we'll wait on that. Jordan Poole, Rashawn Holmes, they are questionable. And then, of course, Big Yoke is questionable. Big T, I know it's tough to figure out what's going on with Jokic these days, but do you think he plays? I think he plays. What about you?
I mean, he's got to play. I thought for sure he'd play the other night, but maybe he was just actually sick. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine he misses tonight.
He's not going to miss the third game in a row. He'll be in there tonight.
They are playing Brooklyn, but I mean,
They were playing the sorry ass Clippers the other night too, so I don't blame them for sitting them. That
They did
Clippers
just
team,
pound that team too without him.
dude, that Clippers team. I know sometimes they have good, like they are just a quit city. Like they're bad, like really really bad too. When they can't run their offense through Harden and Zubac, and they struggle getting one of those two involved, they just have nothing. It's just like Norman Powell just shooting tough shots, and they got Amir Coffey out there playing minutes, and Nick Batum. That team is really, really bad. Like, they suck.
Yeah. By the way, so Cheese says JSU's a better host than me, but my mic's better than his. Does anyone else understand?
I'm
JSU
with you. His mic's not on. He's not on the right setting right now.
JSU is on the wrong setting, so he better figure that out.
I'm on your side here, Travis.
I'm just saying. Look at this. Joe Ruff, is JSU's mic on? See?
Yeah, he doesn't have the right setting on.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
testing.
now you're back.
There we go.
Now we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
You know what it was? I came in kind of quick, so my mic must have disconnected. I thought it was connected, but
yeah, I think
is that what
you're
you
on the
guys do? Is
computer
that why the
line.
show starts at 6:10? You guys sit there and you check out your audio and you guys mess with it the whole time? Is that what goes on?
Don't you worry
I mean,
about when we
normally-
start. I'm back on JSU's side now. He's a better host than you, Travis. We
I'm
start when
just-
we start.
I'm telling you, one of these days I'm popping in during the two-man booth just to see what's going on. I don't know if you
You
guys
already know what's going on. It's the same thing that every show we do. We sit there and nonsense.
might need some hand checks. Maybe there's something going on that we don't know.
I already told you, he's uncomfortable with that kind of stuff. It only works when it's like me, you, and DC. We can do that type of thing.
That's fair. That's fair. We got Craig with the wolf. I don't know if that's Hammer. That's not Hammer wolfing, but
No, that's not Hammer.
no, that's
Hammer's-
Craig.
No.
Don't get Craig and Hammer confused. Two
I don't know.
great
Maybe he's
people,
not
loyal
maybe he's not a
listeners to
burner.
the
I don't
show,
know.
man. Going, you can't get them confused.
Hammer is very distinct too. He was on all the RG shows back in the day. He's been a long time.
Craig's been around a while too. Craig's been in, I know at least all the NBA shows. I think all the football shows too. Craig's a loyal listener. Can't get him confused with Hammer.
I didn't get him confused. I just said maybe it's a burner. I don't know. You gotta
I
watch
think it's
out.
disrespectful to Craig too, because Hammer is a bum. Craig's a good guy.
No, whoa, time out. We can't be calling Hammer a bum. That's bad. That's bad scene right there, Big T. That's tough. Hammer's the man. We love Hammer.
Seems like JSU has stolen Big T's guys. I'll say that. He stole
No, he
Majerus.
stole freaking what's my boy's name?
Rick Majerus.
Yo, Big Rick, baby.
Majerus.
Where's my boy Big Rick right now? Warm water. Let's
DC,
go.
if you made fun of him about his glass of water, you can't tell me that's not the most ridiculous thing in the world. Drinking a warm glass of water out
Yeah,
of
I
a
don't
glass
get
cup.
why does it have to be warm? That makes no sense, JSU. What's your reason?
It just tastes
I
better.
refuse to believe you
I
think
like it.
that's good. Like when that goes down, you can't make that sound. There's no
Bro,
way.
I'm telling you. So, as someone who I worked out my whole life, I played hoops. I hated cold water. I hated cold water bottles. I hated it. Like, it was hard to chug, like, because it's so cold.
It was hard
like,
to chug.
No, seriously. Like, warm water is so much easier. It goes down. Rick, back me up on this, please. Warm water goes down easier. Rick knows. And I snatch more than all three of you fools. So Rick knows that too.
I'm sorry we started this conversation. Let's talk about the Warriors. We got to get into the Warriors talk. This is getting brutal. We got JSU.
Oh, sorry. We got to stop the water conversation to get into the Warriors with Santos and
We've come
Moses
full circle.
Moody.
You're making fun of these NBA games now.
Wow.
You finally come full circle.
Have you seen the Warriors, like guys that we're gonna talk about? I gotta talk
it's
about
called January NBA.
I gotta talk about Kyle Anderson in 2025. Like that's where I draw the line. When I gotta talk about how Kyle Anderson might be an okay play in 2025, that's when we gotta like stop, reevaluate everything, look in the mirror a little bit.
So
That's all.
Kyle Anderson was the guy, not Guy Santos. Kyle Anderson was the one.
I mean, Kyle Anderson is so dusty, and I can't believe we got to talk about him. But at least Santos is like young, like kind of shooter type guy. I don't know. He's okay.
Right, well, we got
Shouldn't be playing on an NBA floor right now. He should be sitting at the end of the bench. But whatever.
We got the starting lineup. It's Trace Jackson Davis. It's Dennis Schroeder, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, Lindy Waters. And then I should mention they did call up Mr. Quentin Post, 3K at the center position. Not saying you should play him. I'm just saying he did get called up. So you can add him to the mix of all the guys we got.
Mango and Steve Kerr just needed another body so he could tilt us when he plays all 10 guys and he rotates them in and they all play like, 25 to 28 minutes and stuff. And we just get all tilted.
One day it's Pat Spencer. The next it's Guy Santos. Then it's Quentin Post. You never know who it could be. It's just a roulette wheel of players. DC seems locked in with his vest. He's ready to roll and give us all the takes. Are you game stacking this game, DC, right out the gate like Big T 777?
Yeah, we're blessed tonight. You just play the whole Warriors starting lineup. They're all like 3K, 5K in Indiana. You get all the minutes. You play Joker late with all the value, and you go enjoy the football game. Nice and easy with the Warriors stack and Nikola Jokic. So
that's all we need to do right now. Hit the outro.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thankful.
Oh man,
I'm thankful for Steve Kerr and Warriors.
I'm in.
I'm just kidding.
What if we actually did just leave like that and then put it up as our course?
5 Warriors. Yeah. I'm sure K-Fallic will give me a bad time about coring 4 of these guys, but I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
Did you see him just all over me about these showdown cores? I mean, he was all up in my shit and the coordinators. I'm like, it's the NFL playoffs, Fallic. Let's go.
It usually gives me a few laughs whenever the coordinators chat's popping off. I know there's got to be something good in there going on.
Especially these days. It used to have a little conversation in there, but these days it's always a doozy when it's going in there.
Yeah. But for real, though, with the Warriors, I mean, I think there are some situations, like the Wizard situation could turn into one where they've got some really good values, but I don't think, any values are going to surpass. They might equal, but I don't think they're going to surpass what we have available for the Warriors. I mean, look at these dudes. I don't know how you don't play these guys against Indiana. I'm loading the boat on this team. I mean, I think, Schroeder at 5,400 as, the clear lead. Buddy Hield back in Indiana at 4,100, probably going to play 30-plus minutes. Jackson Davis is a good fantasy producer. Anderson in the starting lineup at 3,500. And then Moody and Waters, I think, are good plays too. So, Mangun, I know you don't like to load the boats quite as much as I do, but I don't see how you get away from this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to not load the boat. Do you like any Pacers? I guess touch on that, and then I'll go.
I mean, why not against this squad? The Pacers should have their way too. So, Halliburton and Siakam, you can fit the entire Warriors lineup: Halliburton, Siakam, and Joker. There you go. There's a winning lineup for the people. I might play that.
There you go. We got. By the way, it's 10 Warriors active today. It's TJD, Schroeder, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Kyle Anderson, Lindy Waters, Kevon Looney, Guy Santos, Pat Spencer, and Quentin Post. So those are the guys. Big T, it sounds like you just want to stack these guys up and play Jokic and hit the outro, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me for sure. But in all seriousness, I mean, you got a whole starting lineup where no one's more than 5,500 against Indiana. I don't see how. I'm sure he'll troll us, like JSU said, where they'll play all 10, 25 minutes or something. I'm sure but even then, even in 27 minutes, these guys are still just so cheap against Indiana that it's just, I mean, I don't see why you overthink it. What is it, a 7-game slate? A 7-game slate with some games that you're really not going to like all that much. At least I'm not. I mean, it feels like that to me. Even if I was playing multiple teams, it would be jam Golden State and rotate in stars. So I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to watch football and do that kind of stuff, and I'm going to jam the Golden State team.
Yeah.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. Since I'm a bad host, I need to work on my transitions. JSU, since you're the guy that schedules shows at Run Pure Sports, when's our wild card weekend shows, JSU?
Well, we just had a show about 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago with me, Big T, and ODB, the Print Factory show. We covered all 6 games, more from a betting side, but we talked a little DFS, and you can find that on this channel here if you want to go back and watch that after the show. And then we've got 2 shows this weekend. We've got one tomorrow focusing on the 2-gamer for DFS. That will be at 11 a.m. Eastern time with Mangone, DC, JT, and AP. And then on Sunday, we will have our normal Wood show with me, Big T, and Wiley. So we will have you covered for both slates, the 2 and the 3-gamer. And obviously, we'll have Showdown for Monday. So don't worry, we'll have plenty of shows.
There you go. Had to get that in for the people. Also, hit that like. We'd appreciate it. And now, Jace, you talk about the Warriors. Clearly, the spot of the slate. We'll get the spot where everyone's going to play all the plays out of the way. So break this one down for us.
Yeah, of course, Don Yeezy. So this game's just the clear spot. The question is more, who are you going to play? It's kind of like, in my opinion, the Cavaliers spot from yesterday where, I jammed the Cavs, but you had to have the right Cavs. It's like it's like, who do you play? And the way to go is actually playing all 3 of the expensive guys. Like, you wanted all 3 of those guys. If you didn't play Garland, you were probably pissed off at the end of the night. If you just played Allen or Mobley or Allen and Mobley, you still didn't have Garland, who you kind of needed, but you wanted all 3 of them really in reality, or at least 2 of those 3. And, then maybe one value. And this team's a little different because like the most expensive guys, like Trace or Schroeder in the 5K range. So it's not like it's an 8K guy. So it's much easier, but I just don't see how you don't play at least 3 Golden State guys. And then it's just, from that standpoint, it's just about getting the 3 or 4 guys that hit the winner, right. And we've got a bunch of spots where, most of the guys we think will be in. There are some spots like Brooklyn where, they have guys actually back, so there's more guys there than there were the last time Brooklyn played, but there's still down some guys, and some other spots where like, we don't know if Jokic is going to play. Mangone kind of makes a good point too. Like, I think he's going to play, but they are playing Brooklyn, and I don't know if he's already rested 2 games, if he's still like not 100%, why are you going to roll him out there against Brooklyn? Like, you don't need to roll him out there against Brooklyn. This game's at home. You could let Jokic rest another game, and this team could handle Brooklyn without Jokic. They don't need Jokic to handle Brooklyn. But so for me, it's just, how do I rank them with the Warriors? And, I definitely think that Buddy Hield is really the top guy. Schroeder and Kyle Anderson would be 2, 3. And I saw some people in the chat saying Schroeder, hasn't been playing well or not as good now. You got to remember, like, he went from a team in Brooklyn where he was like the man, like he was legit, like the number 1 or 2 option on that team. And especially in terms of like the ball and setting up the offense, to a team where he is no longer that guy. He's more a guy that's on the wing. The ball's getting rotated to him more, but he's not creating as much as when he was with Brooklyn. So it's a big difference, and it's a big change for him. Now they lost almost all their creators are gone, right? Like Draymond's out. That's one of their main creators. Steph's one of their main creators. He's also one of their main scorers too. You would think, in theory, with these guys sitting, it's going to give Schroeder more chances with the ball to create. And in terms, it should boost his fantasy, scoring. So I think it's those 3. And then Lindy Waters would be 4. Lindy Waters just looks good. Like every time I see him play, he kind of just produces. And most of the time that's in short minutes. So like that's in like 18 minutes, 20 minutes. So if he's going to get like 25 minutes plus 30, maybe 30, I don't know, like he could get more. I think he's in a good spot here. So those would be the 4. I think I'd have Jackson Davis 5. And then you get into, the others like the Santos or Moses Moody. Remember, Moses Moody didn't play last game, but like Moody, Santos, those type of plays. So that's how I rank Golden State. And then the other side, I think they're more like filler plays, Mangone. I don't think they're more like key plays. Like I'm not keying in on anyone from that side, but if you landed on, like a Halliburton or a Miles Turner or something like that, I wouldn't like argue against it. I think there's other spots where we can spend up. So I got DeJounte Murray like as one of my favorite kind of spends with all those Pelicans out. Like, I think he's in a spot to crush. So,
Jesse, let me ask you. I think you answered it, but for me, the biggest question is the fourth or fifth Warrior for me is between Waters and Moody. You probably watch more Warriors basketball than I do, frankly. Do you have a preference?
I think they're very similar type of plays, DC, to be honest with you. I'm going to lean Waters, though, just from what I've seen. Moody's been kind of in and out. Like, he didn't play yesterday. I mean, that doesn't mean he won't play big minutes today or anything like that. I think I prefer Waters a little bit.
Sold.
All right. Yeah, we talked about that game for a bit, Chris. Don't worry. JSU's got to talk about this game, and it was.
I mean, it's the best game on the slate. All the other games are going to be much quicker. So
you're going to get bored real quick when I bring up this next game. Milwaukee Bucks and Orlando Magic. Paolo Banchero is back on a minutes restriction. I think the only play I'm looking at in this game is a Giannis. I mean, you could always make the case. When we have all this value, yeah, could you play a Damian Lillard 8-9? Sure, you could, but in this pace, in this game, I think this is a terrible play. So it's Giannis or bust in this game. DC, what's your thoughts?
Nothing more to add, really. Just too many good spots. Obviously, with the Warriors taking up, in my opinion, what should be like at least half of your roster. It's not going to leave a lot else, especially in these early games, especially with all the news that we have coming late. So these kind of just mediocre spots between two, pretty good defensive teams. I don't see a reason to go to this game. No players from this game will be on my four teams tonight.
Yeah, with you on that, Big T. Thoughts on Giannis and this game?
Yeah, you got. Hold on, let me pull it back up.
There's not much to pull up, if I'm being honest.
I literally don't even have. I have college football on my screen, so I got to at least pull up the NBA roster. But yeah, so it's just going to go to the build where Giannis. I think he's a pretty good play just based on the fact that we don't know for sure on Jokic. I did just ask my buddy just to see if he somehow has info, but we don't know about Jokic. He's another early guy where you can just lock in a big number at a high salary with these Golden State guys. There's a lot to be said for low-owned Giannis with no risk, really, as far as floor. And he's obviously got a ceiling. So I think he's a pretty interesting play, actually, on this slate. I'm depending on what my buddy says, I'm half tempted just to throw him in there and not worry about Jokic, just because the last thing you want is to have Jokic and him not play and you don't have a pivot anywhere.
You have no pivots, especially
it makes it really hard. But it also could be where other people are thinking the same thing and don't risk it. So
people are going to be scared to do it. I mean,
and there's no pivot, so it makes it, and it's even a complicated 2v2 even with the way that game sets up. So there's a lot to be said for Giannis. I'm going to wait for more info, but he's the only one on Milwaukee. And then Orlando, you got, Paul, this is his first game back, right?
He's on a minutes restriction, so don't even play.
I'm not playing any Orlando guys for sure. So, because you're not playing, at least I'm not playing cheaper guys on this slate. I do think Cole Anthony is somewhat sneaky. I always like playing guys like Cole Anthony against Milwaukee just because if he gets hot from the outside, he can pop a 40 spot up there. I just don't think this is the right slate, though, for it.
Yeah, with you on that, we just got Paul George available. We were expecting that. So I'm sure there's going to be some news coming in with it being 30 minutes before lock. JSU, let's get to you. Are you playing Giannis over Jokic and looking at any other plays in this game?
Yeah, it would be Jokic for sure if I knew he was in. Like, if Tony gets any type of, yay or nay type news, then I will definitely play some Jokic, because even if Jokic gets 3 quarters against this Nets team and they blow him out, like, he's going to still score, I think, probably more than Giannis in that scenario anyways. So he definitely would be my top guy. I don't really like this game, so I don't want to touch on it too much because I don't think I'm going to have really any plays from it. So no need for me to babble on for another couple minutes.
All right, let's get to the next game. And this one we probably will talk about a bit. Sixers and Pelicans. And it's worth kind of calling out the minutes that we have seen from this Philadelphia 76ers team. I mean, they have been loading up the minutes on these guys, and that's because their bench is just terrible, right? I mean, if you look at Washington the other night, they had, let's see, I'm pulling it up. Popcorn is taking forever. Yabusele played 33 minutes, Martin 35, Maxey 38, Oubre 38. They loaded up. That was without the Paul George stuff. Paul George is now back. That was when Eric Gordon started. But Paul George, when he played in his last game, he played 38 against Phoenix. So that's because their bench, it's just diminished. They got Drummond out, Lowry out, KJ Martin, McCann, we know he's out for the year. I mean, their bench is just so bad right now. Their bench consists of Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson, Council, Edwards, Doughton, and Bona. So it's a rough group. I do think you want to load up on some of these Sixers. For me, I would rank it, I think Paul George 1, Yabusele 2, and then Maxey 3. But all of them are pretty good plays. I also think DeJounte Murray and CJ McCollum as run back options, if you are looking for spend ups that are not named Jokic and you want to kind of go a couple like tier 2 studs, I think a McCollum or a DeJounte Murray is a pretty interesting play to take a chance on in this spot. Again, this Pelicans team, they're shorthanded too. Zion, Ingram, Murphy, and Herb Jones are out. So someone like Nisi at 5'6" isn't a crazy play. I think he's someone you could look at. It does feel like the wrong slate to play someone like a Jose Alvarado as a value. I know Brandon Boston is someone that'll pop up a little bit, but again, I think it's the wrong slate to play those guys as values. DC, what are you doing here with the Sixers and the Pelicans?
Yeah, I mean, you can always play Maxey, right? You're going to get like 40, 42 minutes of a very talented scoring guard. Obviously, he has tremendous ceiling every night, and I don't think he's like, to me, he's like close to on par with SGA, kind of in his current role, given the minutes he's going to play, the primary scoring role, and he's not quite priced like it. So I do like Maxey. I don't know if I'll end up getting there at 9,400, trying to pay for Joker, who I do think is going to play. By the way, I follow the prop market pretty closely these days, and some signs I think that the Joker is going to be in there tonight. So I'm operating under the assumption that Jokic is going to play, which will probably make it so I can't quite get Maxey. I think one of the bigger questions on the slate is Trace Jackson Davis versus Yabusele at that first center spot, especially if you're wanting to play Joker late. You could play Yabusele at power forward as well, but I think it's close between those two. And maybe if you're like me and want to play 3, 4, 5 Warriors, maybe Jackson Davis is the guy you leave off. You slot in Yabusele there, and you don't need quite as much from the Warrior stack that I like so much. So Yabusele, my favorite play on the Sixers. I think just a really strong play overall with both Embiid and Drummond out. I mean, he's got to play 35 minutes at center. The backup Adam Bona is really the only guy they have, and he's not quite ready. So, yeah, I think Yabusele, going to play in the mid-30s minutes here, starting center against, in a pretty good matchup against the Pelicans. So I like him quite a bit in this game. I think a priority play for me.
All right, priority play for DC. Big T, I'll go over to you. The Sixers are clearly going to be a spot we have to get exposure to. And I'm curious, is this a spot you might game stack with some of these Pelican spend-up options instead of Jokic?
Yeah, I definitely think you can go to the Pelicans shorthanded. I don't look at Philly as a team that really worries me anymore with matchups. So you got obviously DeJounte in there with a shorthanded roster. I think he's got a ton of upside. It's all going to depend on how many teams you play too. Like I said, I think you can rotate. It'd be a good night to play like 10 to 20 teams and just jam 4 Golden State per team and then just rotate these guys and have different looks at it. So I think DeJounte is a very good play. If not DeJounte, then CJ I think will have a big game. But then you got these cheaper guys that are good pivots off of the Golden State guys a little bit. I mean, Jordan Hawkins, I think, is a good low-owned play at 3,200. Javonte Green, I think, is a pretty good play at 3,300. Brandon Boston, 3,500. So I think those guys, don't get me wrong, I like Golden State a decent amount more, but I think those guys are definitely pivots off of the Golden State guys too, and pretty good plays. My only issue with them is DeJounte and CJ are in, and they're going to have the ball in their hands so much that like the Golden State doesn't have that. They're gonna all get more looks. So I don't think it's as good as the projections think it are. Like these three are projected really good. I don't think they're that good, but I do think they're decent pivots off the Golden State guys. I'm not going to play a ton of teams today, so I'm probably not going to get to much of them, but I definitely think you can.
Yeah, I definitely think you're not going to get them as much as you were the other day, but I think I'll get to them. Like if you told me to rank them, I think it's clearly Paul George number 1, Yabusele 2, and then Maxey 3. That's kind of how I would rank them. JSU, do you have the similar rankings here with the Sixers? Is it George, Yabusele, and then Maxey? And then what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it would be probably Yabu, Maxey, George if I had to rank those 3 point per dollar and stuff like that. It's one of those games too where I do think on this slate you're just gonna have money to spend, so you don't need as much of the cheap plays anyways. Because I feel like the Golden State team, that's why like the Pelicans guys, like I feel like you just don't need to go to because I think the Golden State guys are just a little better.
By the way, we just got a starting lineup for the Pelicans. It's Murray, McCollum, Jordan Hawkins, Green, and Messi. So Green is 3.3K as a starter, and Jordan Hawkins
starting definitely makes him a good play.
Yeah, Jordan Hawkins at 3.2K. He's only shooting guard eligible, but that's very intriguing and kind of spices the slate up a bit.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a good cheap play starting. So I'll amend that. I would say that between like DeJounte and him would be the 2 Pelicans plays, Hawkins and DeJounte. And then obviously on the other side, I think it's still just probably Maxey or Yabu for me are the 2 guys I would look to.
All right, we'll circle back around. Big T, does the starting lineup for the Pelicans change anything for you?
I mean, my projections already, I can't imagine they're bumped higher than they already are for me with these guys in the low 20s. So
I think though, I mean, let me see. Hawkins is at 19. So Hawkins for me, I think he goes up to 22, 23.
Yeah, I mean, I already have these guys low 20s, so I don't.
Okay.
I mean, Javonte Green, we've seen him forever. At least Jordan Hawkins is young. He's getting better. Javonte Green's just a bomb, but he's cheap. I mean, I like Hawkins all right. I mean, 3,200 starting. I just don't love how much ball DeJounte and CJ are going to have. Jordan Hawkins is a guy that needs ball too. Like, whenever he's in there and even one of these other guys is out, don't get me wrong. He's 3,200. He's a good play. I'm not saying he's not a good play. I think the projection is a tad high, I think.
Yeah, it's Hawkins over Green for me.
Definitely
I wish Hawkins was small forward eligible. I wish he wasn't
same.
just shooting guard eligible. You got a lot of good guards.
Yeah, that causes some issues too. DC, do you have any thoughts on the starting lineup changes?
I think you guys covered most of what I would have said. So yeah, not really.
All right, talk about Boston and the Kings, because I'll tell you this, I don't want to talk about them, DC. So talk about Boston and the Kings.
I mean, it looks like pretty much the fully, or yeah, it looks like the entirely healthy Boston team as of now. So it's just the way the modern NBA is, where these teams that are fully healthy, when you get a night when there's like 3 or 4 teams that are sitting half their teams, it's really, really hard to play any Boston guys outside of, doing it just for super low ownership or whatever. So yeah, I think that's the case tonight. Porzingis would be the guy I'd be most likely to play at 7K. Just think he's kind of not as attached to everyone else being out, like Tatum, Brown, White. I think all those guys are more attached than Porzingis is. So I don't mind that, but I'm not going to get to him personally. And no Sacramento for me either. They got everybody healthy as well outside of Fox, of course. And just a tough team to play with how many guys that need the ball with Sabonis and Monk and DeRozan. Not a team I go to very often, including tonight against, maybe the league's best defense. I don't see the reason to get to Sacramento tonight personally.
All right, Big T, if you are looking for pivots, Sabonis is 9-4 and there is no Fox. I know the matchup's not easy, but hey, if they're going to stay in this game, everything's got to run through him, you would assume. So what's your thoughts on Sabonis as a pivot and the Boston Celtics?
Yeah, I don't love Sabonis against the smaller matchup where just how Boston plays, I think is pretty tough for Sabonis. But he's always in play on slates like this where you have unlimited value. You can just play any of these studs, and it's probably going to be some random stud like Sabonis that wins the slate for someone. So, I mean, you see it all the time. But for me, I'm not going to really go there. I don't love the matchup versus Boston. I feel like Boston's just going to crush this team too. I don't. The matchup seems horrible for Sacramento. I know Boston's a bad matchup for everyone, but it really feels bad versus Sacramento when their best guy is Sabonis. The rest of them are kind of worse versions of the Boston guys. I don't see it there. And if I think Boston rolls, I mean, can I play Tatum on this slate? Sure. But I mean, I'm off this game. I don't love this game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those spots when you look at everything, you go, oh, if I get some Tatum, that's not the worst thing. But if I get like 80%, that seems crazy, right? So you can mix and match these studs. JSU, how are you looking at this game?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little different than you guys. If I play Sacramento, like if I play Sabonis, I don't want just Sabonis. Like I'd want multiple Sacramento because the way Sabonis smashes, he's bringing others with them, and he's also keeping this game close to a point where some of these other Sacramento guys have to get there, even if it's just another guy, but like at least one or two extras with Sabonis. So Boston's one of those teams too. They're like the extreme team where like they're either just destroying you or they're playing down to whoever they're playing because they see they're playing the Kings. You know what I mean? They do it all the time. So like, yeah, sometimes they just hit all their threes and they win by 40. But there are some cases where Boston will play down to the competition. So should they kill Sacramento? Yes, but it's a regular season NBA game on a Friday night, and we all know this all the time, but like it's not just necessarily that, you know, just because the team is way better or the best team in basketball on a night-to-night basis in the regular season, any other team can't like compete with them. You know what I mean? Like the Nuggets without Jokic competed against Boston. Like that was the case a couple nights ago. They did without Jokic. And yeah, it was in Denver or whatever, but still, like Boston should have killed them. They didn't. They didn't at all.
It happens every night, right? Where a shitty team
competes. Every night. So my point is, if you play Sabonis, which I'm going to, I think you should play at least another King. And you know, I know it's like a tough matchup, but like Malik Monk has upside. You know, he's kind of been showing it recently too. Keegan Murray's cheap. The problem is we don't like necessarily need the value, but he is really cheap and he's going to play a ton. So yeah, I mean, on a different slate, the kid Devin Carter might get more run, but he's just like not a good value play because we've got so much value, but I could see him getting some more run here without Fox.
All right, let's get to the next game up. OKC and the Knicks, and clearly SGA has to be a conversation today because we just have all the salary to spend up for. So SGA definitely is a spend that people will be looking at. Cat, we know he's questionable. If he misses, that'll obviously open up value for Brunson and some of these other plays. Jalen Williams could be a contrarian forward spend you could go to in this spot. I know they have a lot of wings, those Knicks, so it'll be a tough matchup, but we could certainly see him have some upside, especially if someone like Cat missed, then they could easily both go small ball. And then, of course, you have Isaiah Hartenstein in a little bit of a revenge game, so you got that there too, DC. What's your thoughts on Knicks and Thunder?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a lot of this slate, frankly, is going to come down to can you get the cheap Warriors right, and then can you get the studs right? I mean, that's kind of it seems like the name of this slate, at least from where I'm sitting. So, again, I want to kind of gamble that Jokic is going to play him. I think he's going to be lower owned than he should be because people don't want to take that risk. So that's going to be the way I play it. But, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, he's been just absolutely smashing recently. Assuming he's in there, questionable to play, good spot against OKC. I think he's fine. And I like SGA too. In the Garden here, Friday night. I don't think the Knicks really – I mean, they have – some good defenders and a pretty good defense overall. But I don't think they're really slowing down SGA too much. I think he can get his against pretty much everybody, including what the Knicks have to offer on defense against him. So I think he's a totally fine spend too. Give me SGA over Towns just because of the positional flexibility that I want to play with. But I think both guys really strong plays, and I don't see going to the values in this game. I think there are just too many good values elsewhere to play any of the OKC wings or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want values in this game, even if McBride is out, right? Like, I don't even think that would change my opinion on values. SGA is clearly a spend we can consider, Big T. What do you think of SGA and the rest of the options in this game?
Yeah, SGA is always going to be in play, even more so on this slate. I actually think he matches up pretty good with how the Knicks play. His projection's higher than I would think in this spot, so I really like him. I'm running my final numbers right now to see how much I get. If I could find a build with Jokic and SGA, which I'm sure I can with this much value, I would feel pretty good about it. So I'm high on him. Like you guys said, I mean, Cat has just been so amazing this year. I'm not even a big Cat guy, but he's just a perfect fit for the Knicks system, and he's really good there, and he keeps showing upside, and it just shows you that it's all about fit for a lot of these guys. So I feel pretty good about him, and I don't think I can play anyone else for the Knicks looking at these prices. Yeah, just the two studs again for me here.
All right, JSU, Knicks and Thunder. Is there anyone here that you're looking to spend up on?
Yeah, Cat. My problem is that I can't play three centers because I would want to play three centers, but I cannot do it. So, I mean, right now on this slate, there's four centers that I think are just clearly some of the best plays. And, Trace Jackson Davis, one of the better like value centers. And then you got Jokic, Cat, and Sabonis, who I like. And so I'm kind of, playing around with pivots if we get news. I don't know if there's been any news on Jokic yet, but, that game's at 7:30 for Cat, and then Jokic game's at 9. So we probably won't get full confirmation by then, but Cat's definitely a pivot piece that I could use if I start to feel uncomfortable about Jokic playing or something like that. That would be like a 2v2. I could still get up to at one other spot, right, Mangone, on my team. It's not crazy, but once that 7:30 window hits, the pickings become slim right there, because then you just got Washington in Chicago, and makes it a little tougher of a swap there. So that's what I'm going between right now. I'm probably not going to play anyone on the OKC side. They seem all priced, correctly. So yeah, it's mainly Cat for me in this game.
All right, next thing up, we should talk about Jordan Poole. He is game time decision, which we don't know what's going to happen there. I will say the one issue with that news is I don't know, man. Do I really want to play that many? Like the Wizards are good values when there's not values on the slate, right? We have good values already. So I'm not backloading and waiting for this stuff, but Jordan Poole is a game time decision. We just got that. Alex Sarr, I believe he is available. I think I saw that a little bit earlier. Yeah, he's available to play. So that's kind of some of the news there. But Washington's on the slate, which means we have to consider some Bulls options. The problem is they're fairly healthy. Ayo Dosunmu, he is out and is the only guy that's really out on this team. So Vucevic at 8.5, Zach LaVine 8.1, Josh Giddey 7K, Kobe White 6.6, and of course you have Pat Williams and Lonzo Ball as values at 4.3 and 3.9. DC, it does feel like we should like the Bulls today, but the problem is there's such good values in other spots. I think we're mainly looking at the spend ups only. What's your thoughts here on the Bulls and the Wizards?
Yeah, I do wonder if the Bulls go a little bit overlooked on this slate. And I mean, an awesome spot. What is their team total here? It's close to 130 points against Washington. And where most of the production is going to come from for the most part with the Bulls. And they're not that expensive, right? We've seen Josh Giddey. It seems kind of random to me when it happens. But when he goes off, he puts up 60, 65 fantasy points, triple doubles. And this seems like a game, right? Against the Wizards who, they don't play any defense. And I think Giddey thrives in these games where it's just wide open. And he's kind of just pushing the pace, getting boards. It seems like a giddy game to me. So I do like him quite a bit. I mean, I like White and Levine as well. Yeah, minutes production are going to be there for these guys. And I think, like I said, they go a little bit overlooked. So it's kind of hard to get to like the mid-range type of build. It does really seem like a stars and scrubs night, right? We're trying to get in Jokic and Towns and SGA, and then there's all this value on the Warriors. But there is another build out there that I think you could go to, and it contains a lot of these Bulls kind of upper mid-range guys. I ranked them Giddey 1, Kobe White 2, Levine 3, Vucevic 4. But I think you could play 2 or 3 of these guys in the same lineup. And yeah, Craig says Giddey's minutes suck. Yeah, they're hard to predict. And I'm not saying it's going to be tonight, but that's what keeps his price and ownership low, right? Is the unpredictability of it. But the upside is definitely there, especially tonight in this matchup. So I do like Giddey quite a bit. You're muted, Mango.
Yeah, I hate to see it. That was on me. DC is on fire. Big T, I do agree with DC where like you could definitely spend like if you spent for like a Vucevic, a Paul George, a DeJounte Murray, like there is a different build where you grab just these like 7, 8, or 9K guys and then just avoid the Giannis's and the Jokic and the SGAs and call it a day. And you still have a lot of those cheap values and they show very big ceilings. And I think Vucevic can have a great game here. I think Zach LaVine could. So there's definitely plays to like here, Big T. How are you attacking this game now?
Yeah, I like Levine a lot. I mean, it's just hard to go full mid-range just because there's no way all this value is missing. And, I mean, you just can't. But you can easily play them with still the stud builds very easily. I mean, I think Zach LaVine is one of my favorite plays. I mean, just looking at how good he's been playing, and now he gets Washington. He's trying to get traded maybe. Like, I think he's showing out for that. It's the perfect spot. It really is. So it's just a matter of who I'm playing with the value. And I think Levine checks the boxes. I'm looking at the Indiana guys in that 8K range, similar range, and I'm looking at Levine. I just think, like right now for me, Halliburton or Levine is a pretty tough decision because I always say when like we're on all Golden State, you just know Indiana's going to crush. But do I like Halliburton more than Levine is where it gets tricky. And honestly, I'm struggling with that decision a little bit. But I love Zach LaVine in this game. Washington side, I can't go to Washington on this slate. But Zach LaVine, Vooch, I'm definitely on board. You can play them both too. I'm sure there's a build where you play 5 value plus LaVine plus Vooch plus Yoke. I think that's pretty simple build, and you can't go wrong playing guys against Washington. They crush every night, especially Chicago.
I like LaVine. I actually almost cored him. That's how much I liked him. So he's a good play. Him and Vucevic definitely get exposure to them. JSU, LaVine, Vucevic, and the other Bulls, what are you doing with them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably playing, if anyone, it would be LaVine. There's so many good center plays on this slate. Vooch just falls out for me with those 4 guys that I already talked about. So I'm not going there. I get the Giddey play too, because, you know, that's like for tournaments. He's probably more of a multi-enter type play for people. If you're playing a bunch of lineups, getting some shares of Giddey, because you never know when he goes off. It sucks his minutes like never really go past that like 30-minute range, somewhere around there, which stinks, but that's just what you get with him. And he can crush in that time too in the right matchup. And this is the right matchup with the team like Washington. So I get what DC's talking about. But for me, I think it's mainly LaVine. I mean, you're going to have money, and he's at a position where you could easily be, needing to spend up. So, he's the main play from this game. I don't need anyone from Washington, so I'm just kind of staying away. I mean, Kyle Kuzma's still cheap, but probably not on this slate.
All right, let's go talk about the Nuggets and Jokic. Clearly a good spot for Jokic. He's going to be one of the best spends, DC. Are you playing Jokic and looking at any other options in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. This game starts an hour after Washington and Chicago, which is the only game that starts at that time. So, kind of 2 games after the rest. This one, an hour after all the others. Jokic, the most expensive player on the slate, and it's not. If you're playing him, if he's in, there's not really a lot else from Denver I would want to play with Jokic, and there's not really a lot from Brooklyn that I want to play. So you could get yourself obviously in a sticky situation where if Jokic is out, and I mean it might happen to me where I've got to pivot from Jokic to like Jamal Murray, which is not ideal, leaving 4 or 5K salary on the table. But I do think he plays in this game. Missed 2 games with illness. I bet he's back in there, and I think he's going to go under owned because of the risk. It is risky playing Jokic on the slate. You are going to have a suboptimal build if you're trying to leave open spots to swap. So he will be lower owned, way lower owned than he would be if he was just in tonight. And I think it's a risk maybe worth taking. I think he smashes at home against Brooklyn. I mean, he should pick this team apart. So yeah, Jokic is the guy I want. Again, it is tricky trying to make sure you have a 2v2 or a 3v3, but I think it's a risk worth taking tonight.
Yeah, we also just got Karl-Anthony Towns in, Deuce McBride in. Tony, I don't know if you got an update about the Jokic stuff, but what's your thoughts on him here in this spot?
It's definitely a somewhat risky spot, but I just think so. The other night, my guys thought he would play. So what was that? 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago?
2 nights ago.
So if they thought he would play 2 nights ago, they were kind of surprised when he didn't play. I just have to imagine he played, but I'd be wrong if I said like it's foolproof, because if you play him, you're kind of screwed if he doesn't play. So you have to know the risk. It's everyone's saying the same thing though. Everyone has the same info these days. All the shows people are watching, everyone's like, "Oh, there's risk. There's no pivots." So you do. It's not like you don't have reward. Like we're gonna get him lower owned.
Yeah.
And there's no one in basketball that drops 80 pieces more than this guy. So I think it's worth the risk. And you know what? Like if he doesn't play, whatever. Like I'm just playing him. Maybe we get news before the other window too, where like I'm gonna play a couple guys probably in that Bulls game, like we just talked about. I'll just find some way to pivot, and you're gonna have to leave salary for sure, but whatever. Like if that happens, it happens. We're getting all the Golden State guys too cheap. Maybe it gets you a different build. I think he plays though, so is what it is. I'm gonna roll him out there.
JC, are you rolling with Jokic tonight?
I am. I want to roll with Jokic tonight, but I don't know if I'm going to. It's just going to depend on when we get the news. Like if I get the news prior to the 7:30 games, then probably we'll play him. If I don't, then I might just pivot to Town. So that's the honest truth. I don't know yet. So we'll see.
All right. I'm getting my upload in. So
I mean, everyone should worry about blowouts because you got half the teams playing, the bottom of their bench, literally the end of their bench. You got like Brooklyn. Who else? Golden State's on this slate. The Pelicans are down how many guys? I mean, maybe not the end, but some guys close to it. There's just a lot of teams. So yeah, you could, but like I said, it's January NBA, and some of these teams will always those guys will like fight too. That's the other thing we don't like factor in is like these young guys that don't normally play. Man, they definitely like when they get in there, this is their like opportunity, and they know they don't get many shots for that type of opportunity. Like the Golden State guys yesterday is a prime example. Like that Santos kid who got in there and he took advantage of his opportunity, and now he's going to get another opportunity probably. And same thing with Lindy Waters. I feel like every time he gets a bump in minutes, he takes advantage of the opportunity, and it just goes on down the list with a bunch of these guys. We saw it with Day'Ron Sharp a few slates ago. He scored like 40 fantasy points at 3-8 or something like that, Mangone, last time he was in. Noah Clowney. By the way, I told you in Rubio to play Noah Clowney. Dropped 40 something or 50 I think. Just owned your boy Martin, by the way. I forgot the victory lap about that, but that was a question, and I think I won that debate. But again, that's just another example of a guy who had a chance, he got an opportunity, and friggin' smashed his opportunity. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of chances we could see some blowouts tonight, but that's what you take. That's why I like, if you're gonna play one of those games with like a super high spread, just go in on it. Like play four guys. You're banking on that game not blowing out. You're banking on staying close. Same thing with the Sacramento thing. Like if you think Boston blows them out, just stay away from the whole game. If you think Sacramento covers, though, play 3 of those guys. Literally, because 2 or 3 of those guys are going to have decent games, I think, in that scenario they cover. So, yeah.
Big T, it's like when Snyder gets a chance against JSU and he drops 2 threes on his head. He's like, he starts licking his chops, right?
Snyder wouldn't score a basket on me.
Snyder was so horrendous the last time I watched him play. It was so disappointing how bad he was too. Like it actually disappointed me.
I haven't touched a basketball since the last time I was at Tony's, and I can almost guarantee you.
It's tough to do it when you leave your shoes at my house. You didn't even bring them home.
He leaves his AirPods. He leaves his shoes.
Basketball shoes, the same ones that I left at your house the last time.
I'm just the same.
Is this like a UFC fighter leaving their gloves in the octagon?
I did beat him 1-on-1 in the backyard. If I'd have left him behind, hang him up.
I'll tell you right now, I don't like losing. Tony did beat me. I didn't like losing.
He leaves his shoes, leave the gloves in the ring. Snyder should have left his gloves in the ring on that slab that day.
JSU hasn't left his gloves anywhere yet, so don't worry about that. The gloves stay. I got the gloves downstairs.
Let's answer a couple of questions if we can. Last 2 spots, Jokic Toppin. I guess we can't answer that because it has Toppin. So sorry, that game locked. Would you play Levine and Kobe White together, Big T?
No, I wouldn't play those 2. I think those 2 correlate pretty poorly, but I think you can play 2 Bulls though. I don't think it needs to be Kobe. It can be, like we said, Vooch. There's decent pivots too. It's like JSU said, like we need to probably think about it till 7:30, but like right now I have Levine and Yoke in those last 2 spots. You got a lot of flexibility with that right now. After 7:30, we lose some of those studs and it gets a little hairier, but hopefully we hear something by 7:30. The good part though about not hearing is everyone's doing the same thing as us, like I said. So
But you should know those pivots, right, Big T? Like you should know exactly. Don't wait up till 7:28 and then, oh shit, Jokic is out, and now you're scrambling for a pivot. Like just know what you would pivot to just in case.
Yeah, we don't like when it gets hairy unless your name's Uncle T. That's it. But let's get to another question. DC, Cat and Paul George or Sabonis Levine? I guess that's already locked. But what would you went with?
I would have gone 2.
Okay. Towns or Saboner, JSU? Those are 2 that you like.
I think straight up, like Towns is a better, like just single play. I think Towns would be a better play because, like I said, I think with Saboner you want more Kings. I don't think you need to play more Knicks with Towns.
Here's an interesting one, Tony. Tatum and Towns or Levine and Yoke. That sounds like.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about. Those are the pivots, like Sabonis, Towns, Tatum. I'm going Levine Jokic. Unless I hear bad news by 7:30, I'm going Levine Jokic. I want to play Levine too. Like I think Levine could drop like a big number tonight on Washington. I mean, I think he could get like a 60-something ball on him. So I want to play. Unless I hear bad news, I might just roll it no matter what. Like I think Jokic plays. So I mean, if he doesn't, I mean, what is even the best dude I could play if I get stuck?
Jamal Murray.
Who? Murray?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just play Murray then. I mean, Murray can get us 50 if Jokic is out. Like, whatever. Maybe I'll min cash. Like, I'm just rolling it.
Man, Big T talking about my min cash is that I'm rooting on. I love it.
I mean, if Jokic sits, I'm going to be definitely talking about your min cashes because I'm not going to be winning nothing with $5K left on the table.
Any interest in Lonzo on FanDuel? I can answer that. Yeah, I have a little bit. I actually think if you don't have like Warriors and like obviously it's after lock now, he's definitely a good value that you would look at, especially in the matchup against Washington. Sicko Mama, we just talked about that one. I do want to go back to Drew said, Big T, we need the thoughts on the football game tonight for the people.
Ohio State, baby. We keep picking winners. We're picking all the winners in the college. Ohio State, easy. We're going to playback too. I'm going to do the football pool thing. We'll draw on there, watch the football game on playback. We'll have some fun. We'll pick some winners. Come hang out if you're just sitting around and having some drinks.
All right. So
what if you're just sitting around watching the Kings Celtics?
Then you need to get a lady.
What if you're married and the lady's gone?
Find your wife then.
What if she's in the emergency room working?
Well, then you got problems.
Sounds like a tough night if you're watching Celtics Kings. I'll say that. So.
Yeah, I mean you got to watch football on nights like this. You just have to. Like it's just a must.
I made.
You can still score watch the NBA. You just can't have it on the main TV.
I can have it on the TV like to my right.
Definitely.
Just not the TV in the middle.
JSU, tomorrow you got UFC and 3 football games. It's gonna be a good fucking day tomorrow.
The UFC going at 4. The UFC going at 4 tilts me. This is like the one time I wish it was at like 5 a.m. So I can go 5 a.m. to like 2 and then just football 4 and 8. Like
it does give us
kind of pissed.
A little more time though to get ready for both, so it's all right.
No, it does. I just hate that it's on the same time as football because UFC sweat. I can't miss a second of UFC. Like you turn away and the guy gets knocked out and you're like, what happened? I missed it. And then it's ruined. You know what I mean?
Easy to TV though. You got the football game and the UFC. It's going to be a fun Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Johnny Utah knows traders. It opened up last night, Johnny Utah. He knows.
Can I where's the one guy? Steven, do you have the tweet or can you tell me which beat writer said that? Because that would affect some of my decision making in a little bit here. I would like that information, at least to be able to read the tweet. So if you could post that, that would be appreciated for sure. Yeah, we have a show tomorrow, like JSU said earlier. It'll be 9 a.m. Eastern. DC, it's me, you, JT, and AP. I don't know if you knew that. So
not 9 Eastern time.
No, sorry, not 9 Eastern. 9 our time, 11 Eastern.
Much better. All right.
11 Eastern. My apologies. So, and then of course the Wood Show will be 10 a.m. as always. Probably 10 a.m. because they'll show up late as always. So there you go. And then of course we'll have tons of other content.
Tony, someone's asking for a playback link. Did you post it on Twitter?
That same freaking link every time. It's playback.tv/Run Pure Sports.
Hold on. Let me post. I can post it in the chat.
Yeah, look at JSU being a man of the people. So.
Give me one sec. Tony's slacking.
Slacking. That's why I just put it in there before you without even looking.
Damn. I just
pulled it up when I was clicking the link too, and it's already it's got the.
Yeah, it's got the pre-show on it. I just pulled it up too. Yeah.
Is Lee Corso gonna almost fall down again?
I mean, they got him. I love Corso. He's done it my whole life. They got to put dude out to pasture. Let him enjoy the rest of his life.
How in the world is he still doing that, though?
I think he just enjoys it. I think he loves being
I don't give a shit if he does enjoy it. There comes a point where Grandpa's not allowed to drive anymore. You got to drive him places.
I mean,
so is McAfee on this thing now at least?
Yeah, McAfee's
he's everywhere. He works more than anyone. McAfee
just let him handle it then. Everyone else go away. Let him fucking handle it.
They don't let Corso do that much, but they still let him do his little bits and stuff.
His bits, yeah.
Can't talk. He's too old.
Yeah, it was. I saw him fall over the other day, and the leprechaun picked him up. It was interesting. But,
the leprechaun.
Yeah, I was very enamored by it. We'll see what they do today. I'm sure he'll be in. Okay.
Mr. T Swift says
we did get a couple starting lineups. We can
see Mango disappear into the living room. That was like a magic show. What was that?
I went to grab my phone and it disappeared.
Man, where's your phone? Like on the floor? You keep your phone on the floor?
No,
Jeez.
it's over here. It's right there.
Over
Mark
here.
Ellis, DeRozan, Murray, Sabonis, Holiday, White, Brown, Tatum,
What
Porzingis.
do you guys think the line is when Mangone actually gets a setup where he doesn't have the fake backdrop?
I know it's a good one. I don't know.
How long you give him? A couple months?
I don't know if it'd be a couple. It could be.
But you're not in the line. I'm asking these two.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see.
I'm gonna go over a couple months. I'm gonna say he doesn't get it until like the summer.
I've been meaning to set a background for like 3 years, so I can't rag on Mangone too much here.
Well,
So.
Yeah,
DC's
you always have a
taking
different
years.
location, though, too. You're always in a different spot and different things. And to be fair, I like just your backdrop right now looks better than his because it's a real backdrop.
I got to get my Siege bobblehead back there somewhere. Then I'll be good to go.
Siege has to. He needed new undies last night with the Notre Dame win. He had to no way he didn't change undies after they won.
It's a good day to be a guy in a green polo. That's what I said yesterday. I added him. He didn't even respond or like the tweet. It was very.
He was focused. What do you mean? It was game day. It was game time. He was.
It was
dialed.
game day.
He was dialed.
Good
Do you
old
think he
Pete.
does the push-ups for each score like the Notre Dame fans, gets down and cranks them?
No, I don't think so.
No
He
shot.
said, no, I do not think so.
No
you think
shot.
Siege is at the bar and they're raising him up? They're throwing him in the air.
I don't think that either.
Also no shot.
You better have some strong dudes in there.
I was gonna say
It's
you
like
better
the one
have
where
some
the gift where
big
Chance
dudes.
lifting the big jugglies up.
I want
Tony, I think it's more than him lifting the big jugglies up.
Those
That's like
jugs
one
were
of
huge.
Siege.
I want
the
Texas.
moves got to be huge too over there. Just gonna say it.
Yeah.
I want Texas to win tonight so I can tweet out God's team versus God's country in the first national championship for the playoffs. I think that'd be.
Siege plays
He
starts.
plays darts naked. Oh man.
All right, I don't know if I can stay much longer after we talk about Siege playing darts naked. So I think we're.
And you said I was the one that gets uncomfortable when you talk about it. So you bring up a dude naked and Mangone's shivering
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
true.
He's got to leave.
It's not any dude.
That's got to be more comfortable in your skin. You got to be okay with it. You don't got
It's
to
not about
actually
being
do it.
comfortable. It's just about I'd rather talk about ladies nude. You know what I mean?
Sure,
No
somebody
offense to
wore
the
undies.
guys.
Oh man.
We love you, Siege.
Siege is the best. Oh man. All right. Well, Tony, we got anything else? Any playback? Anything else? To tell
Playback.
people?
15 minutes. Meet us over there. 15 spot. Let's pick some winners.
All right, 15 minutes. Head on over to Playback. We'll be hanging out. Go find Big T's tweet. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the show. For me, Mango and DC, Big T, JSU, and fuck Greg. We'll see you guys later.